Welcome back to the ReEducation Camp podcast. Karen O'Toole, joined by Collin Miller. I do apologize. I have a little bit of a sore throat. It is that time of the year. We are just a couple days out from Thanksgiving. But before we get into a little Thanksgiving talk, I wanted to share with you a picture. And it's a picture of really the man that is running the world with the man that is being controlled by that man. I think that that's the best way. So I just want to show a picture of these individuals real quick with you, Colin, and you can see that picture right there. You see Mr.
Look,
Musk and his toady, Mr. Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump.
the look on Elon Musk's face is like, yeah, you're damn right. I control all three branches of government now.
Yes,
Like,
yeah, and I will in Mars too. Really my takeaway from this picture was Trump. He looks like he's ready. He's like, get this freak away from me. I think
he's chained to him now.
he's really, yes, yeah. This is, mm,
It's like every picture you see of Donald Trump now, whether it's at Mar-a-Lago with his family or wherever, Elon Musk is seen lurking in the background. And I don't think that people are giving enough thought to just how much power that this one man has amassed in such a short amount of time with the Twitter acquisition in, was that in 2023? I can't even remember when it was at this point.
yeah, it feels, oh boy, that's a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know, but it was 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
It was not too long ago, but though.
Yeah, so he bought Twitter and now he's like the president-elect's right-hand man. And it's just very concerning. And what I was saying to you earlier is that it's just not possible for one man to allegedly run all of these companies. He's allegedly running SpaceX and Tesla and the Boring Company. And simultaneously, he's shit posting on Twitter all day, and he's also the number one Diablo player. Like, okay, this guy is clearly a front man. He's a defense contractor. He is our new tech overlord. He's our new oligarch because they did the swap with Bill Gates, or with Elon Musk for Bill Gates rather. Because when we were growing up in the 90s, the main big tech overlord oligarch was Bill Gates. And now it's like he is not even a thought anymore. He was a thought during COVID, but he somehow disappeared into the shadows and they did the old switcheroo. And now Musk is at the front of everything. Him and Peter Thiel. And these are our new tech oligarchs that are going to control what we think, what we feel. Probably they're going to our social credit score, I assume in the future, is going to be part of X, because he always did say that he wants X to be like
It,
that app
like
that they use in
WeChat.
China, WeChat. Exactly, he wants that
Yeah.
to be our WeChat. So this is what we have to look forward to, and I'm almost relieved in a sense by all of these horrible cabinet picks that Donald Trump has been making, because we know now that Trump is old and tired and he's like checked out now at this point, right? Like you can see it in his face. He's just kind of, he won, he's going to be the 47th president. He's going to be in there and he's just going to be delegating everything to all of these tech oligarchs and people like Howard Lutnick and, oh, who's that new guy that he picked for Treasury Secretary?
Yeah,
Sebastian, what's his name?
not
Gorka.
Gorka. Gorka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Gorka, I thought he was counterterrorism. I think you're talking about, you said Treasury, or are you talking about Gorka? Because he's counterterrorism.
You know what? You're right. He is counterterrorism, and I think
Okay.
he has like four different citizenships or something
He
like
does.
that.
He's like from, yeah. So I know somebody that called him like a vampire, and I thought that that was pretty accurate, actually. I was like, oh, wow. Like he kind of does remind me. No offense to the guy. I just agreed. Wow. Like you're right. He kind of is a vampire. And he is from like Hungary. There is like some weird connection to Hungary with Gorka. And it does kind of make you wonder what's going on. I did like that he made former what is it, former, it was a former governor Huckabee is going to be the ambassador to Israel. I actually like Mike Huckabee, I have to say. He just seems like a cool guy, and he seems like a nice guy. I don't know if he should really be in that ambassadorship. I don't know if he's like he doesn't strike me as somebody that's tough enough for that job. Like that needs to be I don't know if the ambassadorship to Israel as is involved in the sensitive military operations and relations with Israel, or if more it's just like a kind of celebratory and superficial role. So
More of a figurehead type of a
yeah,
position,
yeah,
in
but
other
not
words.
somebody that's really making any decision. It feels like an ambassadorship that should have a lot of weight to it, and you should almost pick someone that's not I don't know, Huckabee just seems like too friendly of a guy. Like he just seems like way like grandpa. Like he just you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But back to the Musk thing, I just wanted to say that it really feels like when you see that picture of Trump and Musk, it feels like have you ever been like there was a girl in college that I went to Temple University and I commuted from my grandmother's house outside of the city, like on the outskirts of the city. And I would go to campus like 2 days a week for like 13 hours, take the train. I did not have like this fun college experience at Temple. And I didn't
Me
really want to
neither.
hang out with people. Like I just wanted to go to class, get on with things and go back home and go to bed. Like I wasn't there to like hang out with people. And this one girl like befriended me. And I really just didn't want to be friends with her. Like I just didn't want to. I wanted to be like I would go and watch the Trailer Park Boys in the computer lab in between my classes because I was stuck on campus. I had no money, so I couldn't go to like the coffee shop. I was broke, so I had no money to go buy a coffee. I had no like I was either working on my homework or watching the Trailer Park Boys to like relieve my depression. And she would like want to hang out with me. And I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you. Like I just don't want to be friends with you. Like I don't understand. But like I'm trying to be nice, but I don't really want to hang with you. You know?
Kind of feel bad for the
And
girl
yeah,
now.
like you
Like
kind
you
of
were
feel
denying her
bad.
affection. Like that's
Yes,
kind of sad.
I was. Well, yeah, she was, like, very delusional about school. Like, she wanted to live in, like, an apartment because there were, like, flowers out I remember, like, talking to her the one time, and she's like, "I don't really like that neighborhood." She was like, "I was in this one neighborhood, and they had, like, flowers outside of the windows, like a flower bed outside of the window." And I'm just like, "Bitch, all I have money for is a Pop-Tart, okay? Like, I don't give a crap about which apartment you wanna rent for $1,400 a month. Like, I am broke. I'm using change to get on the train to go to my classes. Okay. Like I am literally $2 in my account. I don't care. You know what I mean? So I guess I do feel bad a little bit. I really don't. But I think that that's how Trump feels right now. I feel like he feels like I'm sure everybody's had that situation where they're just like you were nice to somebody, but you're just trying to like lose them now. You're like, okay, like I didn't want to spend this much time with you. Like I didn't want you to be on the plane with me. I didn't want you to come to McDonald's with me. I didn't want you to come to my family Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Like
I don't
I
want you
just
taking photos with
wanted
my family.
yes,
You
yeah,
know,
like I just wanted you to help me get elected. Like that's all I wanted from you. And now you're
and you did.
I saw like an I don't know if it was like an Onion article or something, and they're like Donald Trump locks himself in the bathroom to get away from Elon Musk.
Seriously.
That was me
If
in college. I was like trying to lose this person. I'm like, please, like, I'm just trying to be broke and just soothe
that's a
my
good
depression
analogy,
here.
honestly, because
Yes, it does feel like that.
yeah, it's very disconcerting in a way. I love how Elon has convinced all of the mainline conservatives that like he's just like them. He's on their side and he thinks the way that they do. And I don't think that most conservatives these days are true. It's almost like they've lost sight of the fact that people donate to campaigns to extract something once they get in office.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Miriam Adelson gave Trump $100 million to extract something when he gets in office. Elon Musk gave Trump however many millions. I think it was like uh I don't know, maybe he gave 100 million too. I don't know the exact figure, but obviously he's trying to extract something from this presidency. And everyone who is being installed right now in this cabinet, call me crazy. I don't think that they have the average American citizen at the forefront of what they're looking to accomplish, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, I do feel like there's probably a minority of them that really they perhaps do have some kind of skill, like they maybe are have good intentions. There might be a minority, but like you said, just because it's Trump doesn't mean that it's not the same old game that it's always been. It's not like, oh, suddenly it's Trump. So obviously, like we kind of talked about a couple weeks back. No, it's the Sopranos. It's not the Marvel universe. This is not the Trump Avengers. Okay.
This is
It's
still
not,
politics.
this is
You know,
still, yeah, it's
it doesn't matter how many
still,
TikToks you've watched. It doesn't matter how many memes you've
yeah,
laughed at on X. Politics is politics. The game is still what it is. And it is kind of sad, though, because the 2016 Trump campaign, the original Trump MAGA movement, was about changing that system and breaking down some doors and, and holding people accountable. But, look what happened. By 2017 you kind of knew that that wasn't really going to be the case, and I feel kind of sad for everyone who's getting their hopes up and is still of this. They're still using these coping mechanisms of, oh well, Trump's installing these people because those people have been a part of the system and they know where the bodies are buried. I hear that line uttered so many times by so many different conservative pundits and podcasters. Oh well, this person knows where the bodies are buried, so Trump needs a guide to show him. It's like, no, no, that's not what's going on here at all. Trump is 80 years old. Okay. He's an old man. He's tired. He's been through a lot. I like the guy. He's funny. He's great. I think he's a stand up guy who cares about his family. And the fact that he cares about his family, honestly, is partially why things aren't really going to change all that much. Because I feel like it's more than likely that he struck some sort of a deal with the powers that be, like, okay, I'm not really going to actually shake things up. I'm not going to really rattle the cage, as long as my grandchildren's future is secured, my children's future is secured. You know what I mean? Doesn't that sound more likely that some sort of deal has been struck? Cuz why else would they
yeah,
have allowed him to get reelected?
yeah, yeah. Perhaps I think it's interesting to just see people freak out if anybody has any criticisms for some of the picks that he's made. It's almost like, no, Trump is playing four-dimensional chess. He is not playing four-dimensional chess. He's a narcissist. Like he's just
Right.
making choices and he's the ultimate choice maker. And there's some people that I think he just, yes, I don't think that he necessarily knows about every single one of these appointments and knows down to the detail who the perfect person is. I think in some of these cases and instances, he listens to certain people. But no, I think that at the end of the day, he's making the choices he wants to make. It's not four-dimensional chess. He's not like 17 steps ahead of them. I don't even think Trump can pay attention long enough to play chess. I don't think that that's really, this is not
No.
Spock we're talking about here. Like, this is Donald Trump. And like, I think it just appears that he's playing four-dimensional chess because he's so erratic. He's just and he just does as he sees fit to his credit in some circumstances, that people just think like, oh, this has got to, like, they just want to make every excuse in the book for the guy instead of just taking it piece by piece and saying, okay, maybe that's not the best person for that role. Or I don't really like that pick that he made there. I don't really agree with, you sent me a tape of Pam Bondi, his new who he tapped for the attorney general. She was talking about having students interrogated by the FBI because they were protesting against Israel. What the hell are
Yeah,
we
and not
talking
just
about?
interrogated, but like
What?
deported. Like,
Deported.
well, wait
Deported.
a
What?
second. Don't we have the First Amendment where you're free to
Yeah.
criticize any foreign country, really?
Yeah.
So that's
And
kind of
you could go
disturbing.
a step further, and she was saying, well, you shouldn't be able to. She wasn't even saying against Israel. She was saying in support of Hamas. But still, there is no reason why. You can make a lot of arguments about why why our Pentagon has operated in some questionable ways. So are we not supposed to protest them either? Like,
Yeah,
I don't,
can we
or
protest
can we
them? I don't know
protest
what the
them?
rules
Like,
are
I
now.
don't know. So yeah, I don't agree with them stopping students from going to class. Like, I think we all
No.
agree with that. But a lot of them were outside agitators. They weren't even actually students. And hey, I can understand like thinking, I mean, we're really gonna arrest and deport and have the FBI waste their time investigating 19-year-olds who are just trying to get laid. Like what?
Right.
Right?
That's
Like
what most
what
of them are
are we?
trying to do
Yeah,
at the
like
end of the day.
they're not protesting because they're like they're really with the Antifada. Like I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, there's some of them that know what they're talking about. They are involved. But I think by and large, we all know that this is just, it's like a mass hysteria and it just is, it becomes popular. It's like the Black Lives Matters protest, like
Right.
that was this big thing. And now the Black Lives Matter people actually
Where
wasted
are
all
they?
the funds. Think about all the people that donated to them and then posted in their social media profiles to donate to them. And they were just like spending the money frivolously on like houses and just whatever. And so I'm saying, are we going to arrest all the people and deport them because they were in those protests? It's just absolutely ridiculous. So
She was a Jeb Bush
sorry.
girl too. She was part of
Yes.
the
So
2016 Jeb campaign.
yes, what
So
matters is
that's
that she's 59 and she looks good for her age. And
she
that's
does.
really, I mean, really when it gets down to it, these are the important issues.
I'd have
It's
a dinner with her
this.
for sure.
I would
Like if
I
she
would love
invited
to
me
pick
for a
her
dinner.
brain. I would love to pick her brain on like anti-aging, weight loss. Like she looks good. I mean, she really looks good. And that's what the American people are worried
I would just like to see if there's any chemistry there. You know what I mean? Like that's all I would be interested in seeing because I'm
about.
open to hearing different viewpoints, and
Yeah,
I'm a good
absolutely.
listener.
Speaking of good-looking women, I know that you were having running some issues. I know that okay, so Nick Fuentes, a lot of people have become introduced to Nick Fuentes because he recently, right on the night of the election when Trump won, he went viral for saying, "Your body, my choice," and a lot of women freaked out about that.
Forever.
But since then, he has come out with some really controversial takes
A number
recently.
of them.
A
A number of
number
them
of
that are
controversial takes, and I think probably the most controversial thing that Nick has ever said was when he said recently that he thought that Kamala Harris was better looking than Tulsi Gabbard.
yeah.
I know you had a lot to say about that. I knew you were deeply offended by what Nick had to say about that. The
Yeah, I
fabulous
was
one.
annoyed about that. And like his reasoning was because Tulsi has these pit scars, as he called them. And listen, if it was, excuse me, if it was like 20 years ago, first of all, there's a massive age difference between both of these women. I believe that Kamala is 60, right? And
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard, okay, I have to look this up now. I have to get this right. How old is Tulsi Gabbard?
Is she 38?
She's 43 years old.
43.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's 43 years old. How old is Kamala
She
Harris?
just turned 60.
Yeah. Okay. So she's 60. So we're talking about a 43-year-old versus a 60-year-old. So basically 20 years. You could have made a case 20 years ago that Kamala, whatever her name is, was pretty foxy looking, so to speak. But now she's starting to get that neck. And you know what I mean by that neck. It's like that wrinkly, sort of scaly,
It
sort of like
happens to all of
almost it's
us.
like a
Yeah.
turkey gobbler sort of a thing that's going on there. She could still kind of look okay depending upon how the light catches her. But she does not have, you always talk about how you envy Tulsi Gabbard's bone structure. She does have
She
very
does.
beautiful
She
bone
does.
structure.
I like that
She's
you just brought that up, that I will text Colin and say when I'm working and I have to look at a picture of Tulsi Gabbard, I'm like, oh, she just has great bone structure. And I was cursed.
well, these are like a lot of what our texts are about, talking
Yes.
about
Yeah.
women, rating women, do you find her attractive, versus this. But in any case, that is like that was a garbage take by Fuentes at this point in the game to assert that the 60-year-old Kamala with the neck is
Yes.
somehow more attractive than Tulsi Gabbard. Now, granted, I don't think of Tulsi, and I think it's because she has a very masculine sort of energy going on.
Yeah.
I don't think of her like in a romantic light. It's more of like I want this beautiful woman to like coddle me and hold me in like a loving embrace and tell me that everything is going to be okay because she has like such a calming, soothing sort of an energy. So,
Yeah.
in any case, garbage take by Fuentes. And also, he said another thing that pissed me off recently. He was giving his opinions on music because I guess he was asked in a super chat what some of his favorite classic rock bands were, and he went off on this rant about how all 80s music is garbage. And he said, F Van Halen. Okay, no man would ever say F Van Halen. That's like the equivalent of saying F Johann Sebastian Bach, F Mozart, Beethoven. They were trash because like in the guitar world, you have to understand Edward Van Halen completely reinvented how the instrument was not only played but how it was made. He pioneered just so many different things guitar wise, music wise. So yeah, he is like, no, that's a garbage take to say F Van Halen. That's coming from somebody who maybe he heard like a few of like the Sammy Hagar songs on the radio in passing, and it had too much of like a polished 80s sound to him.
Yeah.
Anyway, two takes that really got me kind of riled up, and I
Yeah.
agree with like a lot. I'm not saying I agree with everything that Nick says, but a lot of what he says, coming from like an America First perspective, I sort of align with. But I don't know. Those two things made me question everything I know about him.
Everything, everything. You're questioning everything now. Well, as I say all the time, we can't expect everybody to be right about everything at all times. I think that that has become a huge issue in our country where if somebody has one compartmentalized take that we do not agree with, we want to completely throw them out the window. So and I think you see that a lot, or they want to like embrace like everything that they like Trump. It's like everything Trump does is magic. He's a Midas touch. Every decision and everything he does is just perfection. And
He's like a
like I
Christ
said, yes,
figure.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of people that are right about some topics and they have important things to say, but that doesn't necessarily they're right about every topic. Or as I said in the last podcast, that they're the person to solve the issue because they're bringing the issue to light doesn't necessarily mean that they're the one with all the solutions or they should be tasked with, creating those solutions. So I think that that's something we just see a lot nowadays and it's kind of become a problem. Like you just got to be able to take people for who they are and understand that you're going to disagree with, especially we're coming up on Thanksgiving, right? Like you're going to be likely sitting at a table with somebody who maybe didn't vote the same way you did. And there's no reason for you. I just was reading this I follow a Twitter X, whatever the heck you call it. It's like Republicans against Trump. And it was asking if anybody is going to be eating with Trump voters at their holiday Thanksgiving table. And somebody was like, absolutely not. I will no longer break bread with anyone that voted for Trump. And
Oh my God.
I just scoffed at it. Like, what is wrong with like, I'm not going to sit here and like not talk to someone because they voted for Trump is not that important in my life that like I'm going
Yeah,
to
like you're
not eat with
giving him
someone.
so
Yeah.
much importance in
You're
your life
yes.
just by the
Yeah.
act of like, oh, I'm gonna cut my family off because they didn't
Yeah.
vote for Kamala Harris. They voted for Donald Trump. And you know who had a pretty good bit about this recently? Bill Maher, who,
Really.
is more on the liberal side of things, and I don't agree with everything that he says. But occasionally he'll have a pretty good segment at the end of the
Just like we
show.
were saying, every once in a
Yeah.
while, somebody you don't agree with has something important to say. Yeah.
And he had a pretty good bit recently about how ridiculous it is for some of these Kamala voters and some of these Democrats to be, abstaining from breaking bread with their family over the holidays on Thanksgiving and Christmas, because at the end of the day, like what does it really matter? Is anything going to change one way or another? You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah. I mean, Trump's cabinet picks are so like they are more irrelevant. It is more relevant to me what my color scheme is going to be in my Christmas decorations this year than who Trump picks as the attorney general. Like
Yeah.
I have no influence over it. It really doesn't matter. I'm not going to be able to change things. I already voted. We're already done. And what really matters to me is if I'm going for neutrals or if I'm going to do a little pop of color in red and green. Like that is what I'm here. Those are if all of us that is here I'm going to give for somebody listening, if you're not sure what to talk about at the table because you voted opposite, you sit down and say, "How are you decorating this year? Are you using colors? Are you doing multicolored lights or white lights?" That is not a racist take. Do not try to put some kind of don't put so many conversation around that about
Yeah.
don't bring up the 1619 project because I said colored lights. Okay. Those are the things. Are you going to a Christmas festival? Are you going to, are you, which Starbucks drink are you going to have? Are you going to try the praline latte or the creme brulee? Like
Are
these
you
are
watching the Survivor Series this
yes,
weekend? Are you having
yes,
people over to watch the Survivor Series, the
exactly.
Thanksgiving tradition
So there we go.
for
We just gave
over
people a
20 years
couple.
now?
Yes. I just watched one of the Netflix like Hallmark movies. It was called Hot Frosty. It was like this
Mhm.
man comes to life and he's a snowman, but he's supposed to be hot. I didn't think he
It's
was
like
very hot.
Patrick Swayze. Come.
Not even close, okay? It was it kind of did remind me of the Jack Frost, like Rankin Bass movie. The guy was a little like, he was kind of like an elf. He reminded me of like an elfish. Yeah, it was kind of like Legolas or something like that. I did not find him attractive.
Oh, from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the point of the matter is I watched it. So ask those questions. Have you watched any of these silly movies on Netflix or Hallmark? Have you watched it? And if they try to go into politics, just move to the next topic. Just move to the next one.
It's
What are
almost
you buying?
impossible
What
to
are you
like avoid though, because politics is so interject, like even with the Survivor series that I just mentioned. It's like, oh well, did you see that Triple H shook hands with Donald Trump at the last UFC event? Like anything can be turned, some of these Hallmark movies like that star Candace Cameron Bure from Full House is like, oh, I saw her like a Trump post on it's almost so difficult to avoid at this point.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
I think that that's where people just need to like turn it off. Like you need to just turn it off, get away from I've actually started to because my job, a lot of times I'm on like the New York Post or the Daily Mail. Obviously the Daily Mail, the most important publication of our time. And
Indeed.
I will sometimes see an article and it gets my curiosity. Like I'm scrolling through and it's like, what did Eva Longoria wear to the 2020 Semi Awards? I just made that up. That's not a real award. And I'll scroll and I'll want to click, I'll just be like, "Ugh." But I'm like, no, 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 keep scrolling. Just keep going. Don't stop. You have to fight it. Resist the urge to learn about this nonsense. Drown it out. I also recommend that people get into your local community forums. They're always very interesting. Get into your local political drama. That is where the real meat and potatoes are.
Yeah,
Every
that's
once
what's
in a
gonna
while,
affect you.
see, I get very upset. I have a small community page that I'm part of, and somebody recently, who's actually a Kamala supporter, got us wading into the politics. Or somebody,
Oh
I don't
boy.
remember, two different people. One was a Kamala voter, one was a Trump voter, talking about their prescription drug prices. What the hell does that have to do with my village? That has nothing to do with this little village. Did you see the mangy fox? That is what I need to know about. Did you see the mangy fox? Okay, you guys did you saw it. There was a bear in your backyard. Awesome. Glad to know it. The local county tax assessment came out. Those are the things I'm worried about. I'm not worried about your prescription drug prices. That's not my issue. That's not important.
That's none
I
of my
mean, of
business.
course, it's, it will become an issue when I can't afford any of my drugs. But until then, I mean, is there really anything Trump's going to do about it? Is there anything really
And
that
you should
any
only
of
be
these
taking illicit
people?
drugs anyway. Those are really the only drugs that I
Yes.
recommend taking,
Yes.
drugs
Like,
that you can't get a prescription for.
I mean, hopefully Trump does us all a favor and makes fentanyl legal across all 50 states.
I've got
And
my fingers. That's the only reason I voted for him really is because I was holding out hope that fentanyl would finally be we would stop this demonization
steam,
of
yeah,
fentanyl
yeah,
that is so
needs to
vapid,
end.
especially in the Republican circles.
It
It's
needs to
just
end. We need
yeah.
to, yeah, we need to embrace it. This is what the people need. They need to get into the pot. I will say this time of year, I get so into these ambiance channels on YouTube. If people are not familiar, I think you can watch them on Rumble as well. They're like these little channels with these scenes where they play soft Christmas music or like jazz music.
Yes.
And they have like a little fireplace burning and they're just perfection. And I think to myself every time I see them, I'm like, I will accept the artificial, like I will accept Neuralink. I will just be like, is this the way? Can I, and then like, can I just eat pumpkin pie and drink all the coffee I want and never gain a pound and just live in this fake little universe that I see on the screen? And if they tell me that, yes, that is an option, I will go along with whatever Elon Musk wants to put in my head. I'll be
And
like,
you could
okay,
probably be in fabulous shape in that reality too. You wouldn't
yes,
actually have
yeah,
to exercise. Like I could have
yeah,
a chest like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I could
yeah,
have like huge biceps
yeah.
and a rock hard six pack. Like
Why are you freaks against this? I don't want to go to the gym anymore. It's painful and
yeah,
it smells.
yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah,
I want to
enough.
be in the pod.
Yeah, enough is enough. It's time that we kind of embrace our new tech overlords
Yeah.
and say, hey, we had our chance to better things organically, and it's just obvious that it's not going to happen for either one of us. So it's time now to accept the brain chip from our benevolent Mr. Musk, who controls the executive, legislative, and judicial branch of government now, and just kind of enjoy ourselves, you know.
Yeah, I am thankful for that. I'm thankful that Elon Musk is running the government because it is Thanksgiving. I think we both should express what we are thankful for. I am going to start by saying I am thankful that Matt Gaetz is not going to be the attorney general and that I now know what I'm going to get you for Christmas because Matt Gaetz is now offering cameos
I
on
saw
his
that.
X account. I thought that this was a joke, but I will again share my screen right now so that we can all see that this is a real thing. That Matt Gaetz is now, oh God, sorry, I looked up something else. If you see this Florida man, find me on
Hmm.
Cameo. Let's go on his Cameo real quick. So this is what, oh God.
Oh my lord.
I hope that he wears this hat. I'm gonna request a hat from. I'm gonna request. Oh, so book a personal video. All right, Colin, your Christmas gift is going to be a little pricey this year, but I just want to start by saying I'm gonna leave it to you now to tell me what you are thankful for. But I just want to say I am thankful that Matt Gaetz is now on Cameo and that I was really not sure what I was going to get you for Christmas, but now I'm certain. I'm certain for $525 plus that I can get you something that will give you lasting joy. It's just now, what am I going to have Matt Gaetz say to you? That's my only. So leave in the comments what I should ask Matt Gaetz to say.
You should, well, number one, you should request that he wear an America First hat. I want to
Oh
see
God, that'd be so good.
I want to see if he can pull that off. And as for what I'm thankful for this season, as we approach the end of 2024, I'm thankful that our 46th president, Mr. Joseph R. Biden, is leaving us with one of the best presidents that any one of the best things that any president could ever leave his constituents with, and that is the gift of geothermal nuclear war. Because I feel like, how else are we going to get a break in
Mhm.
this fast paced, technology driven society of ours? How else are we going to get a break from like staring at a screen, staring at our phones being looking at Teams, being on a Zoom meeting,
Getting an email, getting a
yeah, getting
text
any,
message.
yeah,
It's disgraceful. Like, I was just saying
it's
that to my
enough.
husband. Yeah. I just said to him, we were driving home yesterday. We were at a Thanksgiving food drive. And one of well, I might as well say it because you're the one who delivered the horrible news to me that the Kutztown Folk Festival, folks, will not be back for the year 2025. And they
Very
were
sad.
saying that it was based on they were saying it was turnout and funding. But I said to him, I really feel like it's probably just because there's not a lot of people to take on the mantle, that there's not younger people stepping up to kind of put these groups together and put these events on. And I've seen that time and time again. I'm from Jim Thorpe. We no longer do the St. Patrick's Parade. They used to do a live nativity. There's just so many different, uh, just those community events that no longer take place because people no longer have the time and the resources for it. And I said to my husband, I said, when do you have time to donate, to be a volunteer? Like, I genuinely was saying to my husband, like, my husband does not have social media. He does not spend any time on his phone. This is not because he's wasting his life away like I am. He is the most productive person I know. He gets up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work. He has to drive an hour away because we can't afford a home close to where he works. I mean, we might be able to, but we're overspending by just in the last couple of years how expensive these houses have gotten. It's just not worth it. They're so overpriced. So I'm saying he has to drive an hour and then he gets home some nights at like 7 o'clock. When does he have time to volunteer? When does he have time to give back to his community?
It's
He's exhausted.
unrealistic.
And then you could sit there and say, well, like, the women, they might have more time. No, we all have to work. All the women have to work. And like you said,
Yeah, what?
um, so
This
my
is in
husband, yeah.
1955.
So my husband and I are driving home and we're having this conversation. And I got a text message from my boss. And I said to him, for instance, right now, I have to go home. It's 5 o'clock on a Saturday and I have to go spend an hour working because of technology, because there's an email and a text message and computers and the internet. And oh, of course, that didn't happen 30, 40 years ago. You were
No.
off. You were
Yeah, when you
off
were
for
out of
the
the
day.
office,
Yeah,
like
you were
that was it.
done.
Your boss
Yeah.
didn't call your landline,
Yeah.
at least in
Yeah.
most cases, to get a hold of you to work on some pointless bullshit that you have to open your laptop now and you have to. It is such nonsense, and like most of what we're doing, unless you're like a surgeon, a doctor,
There's
a
no
lawyer, a
reason.
nurse,
Yeah.
it's all just
Can
busy work
wait.
at the end of the day. It's
The
busy work.
surgery can wait. The surgery, no, I'm kidding. I'm
No, but you know
kidding.
what I
I'm
mean.
kidding. Yeah,
Most of our
yeah.
jobs, are
And surgeons
nonsense. Let's
are
face it.
awarded, surgeons, we pay them, 400, $500,000 a year in order to have that demanding job. I think the world of
Correct.
those people, and I think that they deserve that money. In fact, I
Yeah, we
think they
need those
deserve
people.
more money,
We
but
need plumbers.
yes,
You
we need
know,
yeah, but at the same time, like you said, and really because of technology, our productivity has maximized so greatly, but we're still working more than ever. And I think also the thing is too, you might talk to a lot of people and they're like, okay, I only really work, like I work a 9 to 5, but I really only spend 4 of those hours productive. But then, like I said, like I see it in myself where I like, okay, I'm grateful that I get to work from home. But then I think I'm done for the day, but then I get pulled back in and then pulled back in and pulled back in.
just
And it
when you
just
think you're out,
out,
they
they
suck
pull
you
you
back
back
in
in.
like
And
an
it
hour
just, yeah,
later.
an out, yeah. And it just never ends. And I just think that this is so counter to the human experience and how we are supposed to live. And like I said, it's just awful that that's the way it is. And like you said, we need a global nuclear war. Like we need this. This is
Yeah,
what
I got
Biden sees it.
excited
Biden
when I
sees.
when I saw the GIF of that Russian hypersonic ICBM. Did you see that GIF? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
It was the
Hmm.
most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I was like, "Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine that if a Russian ICBM going like 35,000 miles an hour is heading towards us?" And all I can picture is that meme of Biden where he's walking away and then he
He
turns
smiles.
around and he gives that smile. Like that is like the most beautiful thing I can envision this
Yeah.
holiday season. It's the
I'm
only
just
thing
gonna,
that's going to
yeah.
give us a break.
when that happens, I would be like, no, I'm not responding to this text message. I'm not answering this call. I'm not responding to that. No, I cannot respond to this email. I cannot do it because we are in a hot war at this point in
Yeah,
time.
it's
Of
over.
course, now I do want to say, just in case you've never listened to the show before, this is called a joke. Okay. We are not, I have a
I'm
brother
serious.
who is
I'm 100% serious at this point. I've reached my breaking
I
point
do
where it's
have
like,
to say I
okay,
have a brother who is in the military and he like almost is like ready for it. Like I say that I'm worried for him more than he's worried about it. Like he's like ready to go. He's like, we need something to do. We're bored. I'm like, what? He's very young. He's very immature. They're young. They're young. They don't understand.
he wants to be sent
They
to
don't
like some third world
understand.
country to like,
Yeah.
burn the village down, like in Platoon.
He's not in that kind of fortunately he's not in that branch, but like I said, I do understand what you're saying. It's a shame that people, we just don't, and even too like the holidays. Like I've had so many holidays where I get contacted on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving, and it's just because we have so many lunatics running things. Like there's always the people at the top, some, not always, I'm not saying, but there's a large group of them who are just sociopaths, and they are so driven to be the top. They don't care about their family, they don't care about friends, they don't care about their social lives. All they care about is maximizing profit and the company, and just glorifying themselves. So of course, like, you're getting the contact on Thanksgiving, you're getting the contact on Christmas, and it's like, get a life. Okay, stop sacrificing the rest of us who actually want to like enjoy ourselves because you're a sociopath. And I just, my encouragement to anybody that is in that situation is to know that at the end of the day, at least you have your priorities straight, because I have been in that situation in the past. And I always think to myself, I might be getting annoyed and getting an email on Thanksgiving, but at least I know that I have people around me and I want to be around them and they want to be around me, and we're going to enjoy ourselves, and we have a loving family and friends. And I know that I am getting contacted because the powers that be are completely isolated and alone because they've sacrificed everything to be in that position. So even though it can be difficult and frustrating sometimes, it's still important to prioritize. It's important to prioritize your color scheme of your decorations. It's important to uh, prioritize your friends and family. It's important to turn your phone off and go out shopping and just listen to the Christmas song. Listen to Mariah Carey, come over the loudspeakers and home goods while you buy something you don't need, to feel a little bit of meaning this time of the year.
Do you know who really summed everything up quite nicely recently? Iron Mike Tyson. There is this
Yes, the
viral
legacy.
interview.
Yes,
Yes, where that
yes.
little girl, I guess she's some sort of an influencer. She's like a 12-year-old girl. And there she was, thinking that she's getting the interview of a lifetime. And she's asking Mike Tyson before the big fight with Jake Paul what he wants his legacy to be. And Tyson is just like, a legacy? What that's just something that somebody made up. Like somebody said that word once and everybody says it every 5 seconds and we're dust. Like I'm just he said, I'm just passing through, I'm just passing through. Like who's gonna be thinking about me? Like who's gonna be sad really once you're gone? Like if you have kids, your kids, your grandchildren. But beyond that, nobody's gonna be thinking about you. You're
He's
dust. That's
right.
it. It's
He's right.
over.
In a sense, he's right. From dust she
Legacy.
came and dust she shall return. But I think that what we take away from that, I don't want people to hear that and just become nihilist. I think what
No,
the key takeaway is to spend the time and be good to the people around you, and to not,
exactly.
and when things go wrong, let it roll off your back. Somebody gets, I was at a grocery store a couple months ago, and this man started freaking out on the poor deli clerk. He walked away. I started to get stressed out from it. He walked away and I walked up to her and I said, "No one should ever talk to you ever like that. That was completely unacceptable." And she goes, "Unfortunately, we're kind of just used to it." Used to it? Used to it? It's
I would have
boar's
said, "Would
head
you like me to
ham.
murder that person? I'll go and do it right now because
Yeah.
that was just
But
despicable."
but yes, like, I get it. We get frustrated, we get upset. Let it roll off your back. Don't, especially this time of year. I remember when I was a kid, I'm the oldest sister. I used to get so wrapped up in trying to make everything perfect. I wanted the house to be spotless. I wanted all the gifts to look just so, have the cookies made. I used to put out the carrots and the reindeer food for my little brothers and the cookies for Santa.
I still
And
put
I
out the
just
carrots for the reindeer and the cookies for Santa because Santa visits my house every
yes,
year,
yes.
regardless. I don't care what anybody says.
But I used to get so uptight that everything was perfect, that everything went the way that I could control everything.
It's not achievable.
And I remember the last year I spent with my parents, at their home before I got married. And my brothers and sisters came in my room to help me, to have me come and wrap decorations, to come and do something. And I was like, I'm going back to bed. And I just didn't get up and went back to sleep. And it was one of the best Christmases I ever had because I just gave up. But I'm saying, but what I mean is you do your best, but everything, if you don't mail out the Christmas cards, Christmas will come and Christmas will go. Just appreciate the time you have, appreciate the time you have with other people. Be loving, give of yourself, give of your time. Be present. It's, that's one of the biggest struggles I have in my life. And I think a lot of us do, like, is just being present in the moment and not
Yes,
being like,
practicing mindfulness.
yeah, yeah, I guess. But no, I think that you're right. Like just being present and just being not
Was that too new agey
distracted.
for you? Like
That was a little
that's
bit
what
too,
that
but
laugh
you're
was
right.
like.
But it says, to be still and know that I'm God. So there is in a sense a faith-based Christian alternative to that beliefs. And
Yes.
yeah, so Colin knows that I always reject the new age. You are not blaspheming the new age. You're like, open your third eye, Karen. But
Well, yeah.
but so I just want to ask real quick before we wrap up, are you making anything for Thanksgiving? Are you gonna make anything?
Oh God, no, no. I'll probably stop. Okay, so here's what we're doing. My poor mother's gonna end up cooking everything because I'm
Everything.
telling you, my family is so small at this point. My brother lives pretty much where you live, essentially, and
So
God knows when he's gonna
cool-rating.
get to Florida to visit again.
Yeah.
So it's just me, I live alone, and it's my folks, and then my aunt and my uncle and my one cousin. And like that's it. My mom's gonna be cooking everything because my aunt she's got a lot of health issues going on, so I don't know, maybe they'll bring over my cousin will probably make like a dish because like he does all the cooking over at their establishment household whatever you want to call it. So
Homestead.
yeah, homestead. I'll probably stop off at Publix, I think, because Publix does have a quality bakery. I'll tell you that. So I'll
Yeah.
probably pick up like an apple pie or a pumpkin pie or maybe even a pecan pie. I feel like the pecan pie is very underrated and overlooked this time of
Yeah.
year.
I made a homemade pecan pie a couple years back because my brother wanted it. It's insane what's in a pecan pie though. It's like straight up corn syrup. You just like pour corn syrup over pecans, and that's like a pecan pie essentially.
RFK is going
That's
to ban that pretty soon
Yeah,
once he's the
it's
head
gonna
of
be
Health and
well,
Human Services.
it's actually not high fructose corn syrup. It's just corn syrup. So
Okay.
it's a little bit different than the high fructose stuff. But yeah, so well, I'm glad to hear that you can be contributing to your poor mother's Thanksgiving while she has to slave away for all of you. And
It's the only way to even have a Thanksgiving because nobody else is going to do anything. So my
yeah,
mom,
yeah,
God bless her, she's taking the weight of the world on her shoulders as she's done for nearly 70 years
forever. She's
now.
a saint. She's a
And
saint.
yeah, no, she truly is. I always tell her, I'm not going to let you perish. I'm going to preserve your consciousness in like an AI somehow because
Like
who else am
Disney,
who else am I going to
hieroglyphic.
ask like basic questions like, what's this bill? What do I do with it? I need to preserve my mother's consciousness in an AI, and I'm hoping that our benevolent dictator Elon Musk can make that a realistic, achievable goal.
All right, all right. Well, I will be making homemade pumpkin pie and apple crumb pie and I make a sweet potato casserole. One of my friends made this casserole, not the marshmallow kind. It's like pecans, like a pecan crumb topping.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are my staples I usually make each year. So I'll be making those. And yeah, I mean, and then my mom actually requested, so I'm in charge of the pies, and I'm going to make 2 homemade ones, but in addition to that, she requested that I get a frozen pie for each male member of my family because they're all gluttons. So
Ah,
I have to bring an individual pie for each one of them because they don't know how to control their dietary restrictions around the
that's one of the
holidays.
seven deadly sins,
That is, I should remind them when I see them, but,
They're probably going to
yes,
hell.
yeah. The one year, my one brother literally ate only Hawaiian rolls at the Thanksgiving table. He did not eat turkey, stuffing, like cranberry sauce, you name it. He literally only ate Hawaiian rolls with butter. He just kept shoving them in his mouth, and it
That's
was
a lot
just
of
like a free for
carbs.
all. He is a sweet tooth. I mean, I know that's not sweet, but like yeah, he's a carbaholic.
It
I try
turns
to
to
tell him, I'm like,
sugar.
yeah, I try to tell him, I'm like, dude, you gotta get this together. You need to eat protein. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. So I try to tell, I'm like, you're gonna end up with diabetes. But what you try to get through these kids, but
Are you a turkey a connoisseur? And do you? Yeah, I mean, who really is? But do you prefer the white meat or the dark meat? I'm a
I
dark meat
think
kind of a guy.
I think I prefer, but maybe I do like the dark meat. I started making chicken thighs a lot at home, and I love chicken thighs. So I'm thinking
Same.
like maybe I just was a kid and was immature and didn't understand. I was naive and didn't understand that the dark meat would probably be tasty. So maybe I'll try some. I'll try a little bit. I'm not really a big turkey fan in general. It just like really,
Well,
I've
it's like who goes
never,
to a restaurant and orders turkey? Like
yeah,
when does that happen other than on
yeah.
Thanksgiving? You
I
know?
really only like Boar's Head peppermill turkey. Like this is their pepper, and now I'm afraid to eat it because of the listeria outbreak, but their peppermill turkey slices are phenomenal. That is so good. But I guess maybe if I had a turkey like brined, I might like it a little bit more, but it just doesn't excite me. It's just not. I mean, what is your favorite fixings, we'll say, at the
Stuffing. I'm a
stuffing?
stuffing
Yeah.
guy. I am a carbohydrate junkie, although I've been trying to keep that under control as
Mm,
of late, as we were discussing before we started recording. But yeah, I love some stuffing with some gravy on top. What else do I like? I mean, potatoes. Obviously, we're Irish. That's part of
yeah.
like our fuel, our
Yeah, even
daily
though they're
fuel.
from South America, somehow we like culturally appropriated them. That should be
Yeah.
stopped. We should know Irish people should no longer be allowed to eat potato. They should
Yes.
When Connor is elected president, they're going to ban potatoes from Ireland, and he's going to reclaim our Irish true ancestry, and we will only be able to eat like the fat of lamb or something like that. And I think,
Yeah.
like I don't even know what like turnips or something like that. That'll be the only thing the Irish are allowed. They are no longer allowed to have potatoes because those are from South America.
Like
But
only gamey type of meat.
yes,
Only real
yes.
gamey exotic meat. That's the only thing we're going to be permitted
Yes,
to
only wild
consume.
fowl and gamey. But yeah, so I agree with you. I think stuffing would be my say. I would definitely say stuffing. And do you know anybody that says stuffing? Sometimes
Stuffed ning. Who says that?
so I swear people in my family, and I've heard other people, maybe it's only my family. Maybe I need to check in with them.
Yeah,
But
that's
they
that's deeply
sometimes say
concerning.
stuffing. And if somebody else has ever heard of stuffing, I've heard this said. Maybe my grandma, she says Dizzy World. She says a lot of interesting little things that
I
she's
think
made
my
up.
grandmother used to say Disney World. I'm pretty sure.
Dizzy, she'll like
Disney.
dizzy. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know. If anybody else says stuffing sometimes, please leave it in the comments. Let me know I'm not alone. Yeah, I would say definitely stuffing. And for people that don't know, that's kind of like dressing. I know in the South, they have dressing. I spent one of my most memorable Thanksgivings was a Friendsgiving in Alabama my freshman
Oh,
year
I
of
hate that word.
college. What, dressing?
No, no, Friendsgiving.
Alabama? Oh,
Just
Friendsgiving,
the concept of a
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving
It
and the
just sounds
word.
like
Oh,
we're gonna get together and talk about the 1619 project and how the pilgrims were evil. Like that's what it sounds right? Like we're gonna come over for my Friendsgiving where we're gonna talk about how the pilgrims were evil. And yeah, so so I got together. It was a Thanksgiving group of people that worked in public radio in Alabama with me, and they specifically requested cornbread dressing. So I had to like learn how to make cornbread dressing. And I got the seal of approval from people from Dothan, Alabama. So I think I did pretty good. I tried. I culturally appropriated the South. But so if you're not familiar, stuffing is kind of like more of a northern version of that. So it's a little bit more, I think that we use a little bit more of those fall herbs, a lot of like sage and rosemary and thyme. I can't remember exactly what was in the cornbread dressing. I don't feel like it was as strong a flavor. Man, stuffing's so good. I look forward to that. So, well, Colin, I think that like wraps it up. I got to
I
go
was gonna
make
say,
some
I
more
think
honey and tea.
yeah, I think that is an episode for today. You need to rest your voice and
Yes,
you need to actually like take a break from any and all social interaction,
I know.
because if we're going to keep this thing going into the new year, both of us need to be firing on all cylinders, physically, mentally, spiritually. So, this was the first episode we've done in a few weeks, so thank you for tuning in, everyone. Give us a like on YouTube, please. Leave a comment if anything that we said during the course of this episode intrigued you, tickled your fancy, or if you want to if you want to disagree with us, please do so. And follow us on X, and we'll be back here. Oh, probably next Sunday, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, to talk about God knows what else. So, on that note, have a happy Thanksgiving and a great week, and we'll see you then.